नमस्कार. आम्ही आता रोखडोच आमचो कार्यक्रम सुरू करता. सगळ्यांक खबर आसा आज आमी हांगा कित्याक जमल्यात आनी ताजे खातीर आमकां दिसलें की ही शोक सभा करची म्हणून. सगळेपणे भाई खलप आनी हांवें हाजेर विचार केलो आनी ठरयलें की एक ल्हानशी सभा घेवया. पण आमी जेन्ना कळयलें, वॉट्सॅपार कळयलें, मिडिया मार्फत कळयलें, तेन्ना सगळ्यांनी आमकां प्रोत्साहन दिलें आनी तुमी सगळे व्हड्या संख्येन हांगा उपस्थित येतात. हांव तुमकां सगळ्यांक येवकार दिता. ही सभा जी आसा ती म्हणजे हाजो प्रोटोकॉल आनी अमूक तमूक अशें कांय ना. हांगा जे उपस्थित आसात आमचे मानेस्त, तांचे कडेन हांव मागतलो की तांणी तांचे पद्दतीन मागीर तांचे विचार मांडचे म्हणून. सगळ्या पयलीं हांव आमच्या भाई कडेन मागतां की तांणी तुमचे सगळ्यांचे वेलकम करचें.
गोयचे मुख्यमंत्री डॉक्टर सावंत, जस्टिस सोनक, एडवोकेट जनरल श्री पांगम, म्युनिसिपल प्रगांजांचे अध्यक्ष श्री दशरथ परब, म्हजो मित्र श्री सलत्री, उपस्थितांमध्ये खुबशे मान्यवर आसात, माजी जजीस आसात, एडवोकेट जनरल्स आसात, वेगवेगळ्या स्तरांतले नेते आसात, वकील मंडळी आसा, ज्येष्ठ वकील आसात. तुमच्या सगळ्यांचे वतीन तुमचे सगळ्यांचे स्वागत करता. एका अत्यंत दुःखद अशी घटना परवाची जी घडली आणि तुम्हा आमकां सर्वांचे लाडके असे वकील, म्हजे स्वताचे गुरू, तुमच्या पैकी अनेकांचे गुरू, जेणे कायदा विश्वाक एक वेगळें वळण दिलें. प्रॅक्टीस वकिलांनी कशी करची, अशलां कडेन तो कसो वागचो आनी वकिलाचे समाजा कडेन जे कितें कर्तव्य आसा ते कशें निभावचें, ह्या सगळ्यांचो वस्तुपाठ, एक प्रकारचो आदर्श तेणें तुमच्या आमच्या समोर दवरलो. अशे सिनियर एडवोकेट, तुमचे आमचे सगळ्यांचे दोतोर, अनेकांचे भाई, तांचे कुटुंबियांचे, ते तांकां भाईच म्हणटाले, भुरगे तांचे, अशी विविध संस्थांक तेणें जे रिप्रेझेंट करून मार्गदर्शन केले, त्या संस्थांचे हांगा अनेक जाण हजर आसात. अशें तुमी आमी सगळेच त्यांचे मरणाची बातमी ऐकल्या बरोबर एका वेगळ्या विश्वान आमी पावले. सगळो देश आमचो एका विशिष्ट न्यायीक संघर्शांतल्यान फुडें वचत आसा. गोवाय तशीच वाटचाल करीत आसा आनी अशा वेळार गरज आसता, एखाद्या दिपस्तंभाची गरज आसता, मार्गदर्शकाची गरज आसता, पोटाक धरून फुडें कशें वचचें हें सांगणाऱ्याची गरज आसता. आमचे भाई, आमचे दोतोर MS उसगांवकर हांणी कार्य केलें. तुमी आमी जाणात, पुर्तुगीज काळांत ते वकील जाले, पुर्तुगीज भाशेचेर प्रभुत्व मेळयलें, पुर्तुगीज पद्दतीचेर, कायदा पद्दतीचेर वर्चस्व, आनी स्वातंत्र्य मेळ्ळ्या नंतर ताणें आपल्या जिवनाकच कलाटणी दिली. ताबडतोब भारतीय घटना, भारताची कार्यपद्दती, वकील पद्दती रोखडीच शिकून घेतली आनी थंय ते समरस जाले. आनी दोनूय ह्या पद्दती मदल्यो तो एक नावाडी ठरलो, एक गायड सगळ्यांक आमकां ठरलो. आमच्या न्यायालयाक ताणें मार्गदर्शन केलें. जे जस्टिसीस, जजीस भायल्यान हांगा पावले, तांकां गोंयचो तो विशिश्ट कायदो म्हणजे कितें हें तेंच्या कडल्यान कळ्ळें. आनी हो सगळो विद्वत्ता आंगान आसा, ज्ञान आसा, ताकद आसा, उमेद आसा, अशें आसूनय अत्यंत हंबल कोणाक म्हणचो. वॉट इज ह्युमिलिटी? ह्युमिलिटी पर्सनिफायड अशें हांव म्हणन वॉज अवर दोतोर एम.एस. उसगांवकर. आज आमी लॉ रिफॉर्म्स बद्दल उलयतात. विधानसभा, लोकसभा विविध कायदे करता. हे कायदे करता आसतना समाजाचेर ताचो परिणाम कितें जातलो आनी समाजाक एक्झॅक्टली जाय कितें ह्या संदर्भात आपले तरेन विचार करून ते करतात. परंतु त्रयस्थ मनशाची गरज आसता, जांकां राजकीय प्रणाली लागना, जांकां लागता तो न्याय आनी नीती, जांकां लागता ती भारतीय घटना, अशे मंडळी खऱ्या अर्थान न्यायालयाक एक दिशा दितात, रिफॉर्म्स कशे आसा ते सांगतात. आज कॉमन सिव्हिल कोड बद्दल आमी उलयतात. त्या बद्दलचे मार्गदर्शन आज जर खऱ्या पद्दतीन कोणें केलें आसतें तर आमच्या दोतोर एम.एस. उसगांवकर हांणी केलें आसतें. गोंयांत सुद्दां विविध कायदे आसात. सदां उठून आमी आयकतात जमनीचें कितें जालां, कुळांचें कितें जालां, मुणकाराचें कितें जालां, अमक्याचें कितें, तमक्याचें कितें पळयतात. त्या वेळार रिफॉर्म्स कशे आसचे हें तांच्या कडल्यान आमी शिकूंक मेळटलें आसतें. तर आजच्या वेळार हांव पाल्लाळ लायना. त्यांच्या आत्म्याक सद्गती लाभची अशी परमेश्वरा कडेन प्रार्थना करता. तुमी आमी सगळे जाण त्यांच्या प्रेमापोटी हांगा जमल्यात. तांकां श्रद्धांजली आमी ओपुयाच. ह्या व्यासपिठाचेर मुंबय हायकोर्टाचे जज आसात, जांच्या बद्दल अशीच तुमच्या आमच्या मनात, वकिलांच्या अशिलांच्या मनात एक प्रकारची आदराची भावना आसा, आमच्या कडेन आसा. एडवोकेट जनरल आसात आमचे, ते आपल्या परीने काम करीत आसात. आणि आमचे मुख्यमंत्री दोतोर प्रमोद बाब सावंत ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टींचो समन्वय साधून सगळ्या विचारांची ताकद आणि महत्व लक्षात घेऊन वाटचाल करचो प्रयत्न करीत आसात. अशे ही थोर मंडळी हांगा जमल्यात. त्यांचे स्वागत परत एकदा हांव करता आणि विनंती करता आमच्या मित्राक की पुढचो कार्यक्रम तुम्ही चालू दवरचो. देव बरें करूं.
आमच्यामध्ये जस्टिस महेश सोनक आसात. आम्ही जेन्ना हो कार्यक्रम ठरयलो, म्हणजे जेन्ना आमी हांव आनी बाई तांच्यो विधी आटपून येताले तेन्ना वाटेर आमी विचार केलो की आमी सभा घेवया म्हणून. तर कोणाक आपोवचे, लिगल फ्रेटर्निटी मदले कोणाक आपोवचे. तर आमच्या मनान पयलें नांव आयलें तें जस्टीस महेश सोनकाचें. आनी आय टूक अ लिबर्टी टू कॉल हिम. In fact, protocol wise, I should not have called him on phone, but my relation with Justice Sonak is different, apart from. So I called him on phone and immediately he said, yes, I am coming. In fact, he was in Kashmir that time. And then after he came down to Goa, he again called me and said, what is the program? Then I explained him, program is very simple. We only want to pay homage to our Usgaonkar.
Respected Chief Minister, learned Advocate General, Mr. Parab, Mr. Khalap, Mr. Salatri, and dear friends. My thoughts are not entirely clear. There is a natural mist in the air. Dr. Usgaonkar's passing has made this mist penetrate into our hearts. But at the same time, there is this memory of a gentle sunlight that has warmed us, enlightened us, and helped so many of us to evolve as lawyers, judges, and moreover as good human beings. Therefore, I am unsure whether I am here to mourn Dr. Usgaonkar's passing or to celebrate his wonderful and eventful life. Gratitude makes sense for the past, evokes hope for the present, and a vision for the future. I feel incredibly grateful that we had the good fortune to live in Dr. Usgaonkar's times, era, and age. because these are the only words in which you can describe his life. As a lawyer par excellence, Dotor stood in the first rank of his times. He had an immense capacity for service and a genius which everyone could recognize but no one could define. Throughout my practice days, Dotor remained a legend. In fact, when I entered into practice, he was already a legend. Throughout my practice days, he remained a legend. And now that he is no more, he lives as a legend of a bygone age, which he established, nurtured, guided, and led by the sheer force of his personality, work ethic, grace, and culture. With Dotor's passing, there is this sinking feeling that now we are on our own, rudderless and leaderless. His memories, legacy, his footsteps on the quicksands of law are all that we have to cherish and be blessed with. This is daunting, but all his life Dotor prepared us to cope up with these times by his shining example. His life and works would now be a guide to the future which he helped to create. His life and times covered a wide range of emotions. There was intelligence, industry, and integrity. The 3 I's, so to say. But thankfully, Dotor was never inflicted with the most harmful I, that is aham. There was never any ego, vanity, or self-aggrandizement of any sort. In fact, if Dr. Usgaonkar were to be here with us today, seeing me struggle with words to express my emotions, I'm sure he would have intervened and said, "Are Mahesh, to I specialist nashillo ashe म्हण मरे म्हण." There was never any hint of me-pan, despite Dotor achieving so much. Therefore, Babhaborkar's memorable words appear as if written for Dr. Usgaonkar. जीवन त्यांना कळले हो, मीपण ज्यांचे पक्व फळापरी सहजपणाने गळले हो. Dotor's innate capacity to always retain the common touch and never let humility distance itself from what I firmly believe accentuates his greatness. Goa's rich and famous had to jostle with the humblest of munkars and tenants for appointments and access to Dotor. His skill and time were never on sale to the highest bidder. Rudyard Kipling, in his famous poem If, remarks, "If you can talk with the crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with the kings, nor never lose their common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that is in it, and which is more, you will be a man, my son." But I must say that priority was always accorded to fellow professionals, again without any distinction of junior or senior. Dotor had a knack for making everyone comfortable, except perhaps his juniors. This discomfiture prevented the juniors from slipping into complacency and constantly motivated them to improve. They say that money and knowledge are like manure. They are not worth a thing unless they are spread around, encouraging your saplings to grow. The long and impressive list of juniors nurtured by Dotor is a standing testimony to the saplings that he helped to grow into robust trees. The list boasts of judges, advocate generals, cabinet ministers, and most importantly, generations of exemplary and dedicated members of the bar who are proud of Dotor and Dotor's legacy. A personal commitment to his skill and an intellectual commitment to working together as one made the ascent of Dr. Usgaonkar. He did not ascend alone, he took everyone along. Dotor had intellect enough to succeed without industry, and industry enough to succeed without intellect. Since he was blessed with an amalgam of industry and intellect, there was no wonder that he could scale such great heights. Such great heights, however, never swept Dotor to the realm of vanity. Dotor always remained a down-to-earth person. Perhaps his legendary sense of humor was his anchor. This was undoubtedly his armor against stress. This was also his sword to diffuse a tense situation in a court or to disarm any agitated colleague at the bar. Thomas Carlyle says that the best university is a book collection. Totor not only built such a university, but his goodness was that he always shared his bibliographic treasures with all. I recollect the time spent in his library and in the company of Halsbury and Corpus Juris. Late one night as he was leaving his chambers, I recall expressing my exasperation at finding precedents after precedents contrary to the position I wished to present the next day in the court. Totor, with his usual sense of humor, consoled me by comparing lawyers to Hindu priests who have to preside over joyous birth or naming ceremonies and funeral obsequies sometimes on the same day. Your research will not be in vain, he said. These adverse precedents will sustain you to live to fight another day when you have a divergent point to present. Friends, Winston Churchill said that one mark of a great person is the power to make a lasting impression on the people he meets. Another is to have so handled matters during his life that the course of after events is continually affected by what he did. Totor fulfilled both these tests. We mourn his demise today, but we pay tribute to his legacy. We mourn his demise, but we rejoice at his life so well lived. Therefore, peace to his sacred ashes and honor to his memory. The best inscriptions, they say, are the memories in the people's hearts and minds, which continue for generations. And these inscriptions, Dr. Usgaonkar has earned in abundance. Thank you very much.
आमच्यामध्ये आमचे ॲडव्होकेट जनरल पांगम सर,
Honorable the Chief Minister of State of Goa, Honorable Justice Mahesh Sona, Judge of the Bombay High Court, Mr. Ramakant Khalap, ex-Law Minister of India, Mr. Parab and Mr. Salatri, senior members of the bar, senior citizens, Mr. Kamath, who is there amongst us, a sitting MLA, Mr. Soren Desai, senior advocate, Mr. RMS Khandeparkar, the ex-judge of the Bombay High Court, the family members of late Mr. Usgaonkar, and all my dear colleague. As well put and said by the earlier speaker, Honorable the Judge of the Bombay High Court, we are today here mourning the death of late Mr. Manohar Usgaonkar. But the death of such great personalities have to be not mourned, but it is the time to reflect and find out as to what is the legacy that is left by such great souls. And I am going to speak a little bit about the legacy left by Mr. Usgaonkar, because that is what is important insofar as the society is concerned. The contribution of Mr. Usgaonkar insofar as legal fraternity and the legal field is concerned is immense. He started his career during Portuguese time, during Portuguese regime and during Portuguese law being applied in the state of Goa. He started at a small level. He started possibly at the trial courts, and ultimately we all know that he went on to become the Additional Solicitor General of India. But as far as legacy which he has left in the legal field is concerned, I think, and for me, that is the most important thing that has happened in the legal field. We went through critical times during the period after the liberation of Goa. The state of Goa, which was erstwhile an union territory, was having a legal system which was based on Portuguese law, which is incidentally based on the continental system of law. There was a transition period whereby and whereunder we were supposed to come under the regime of Indian laws, which basically we inherit from English law. Now that was a time where our people, our system had to adjust and to come in line with the Indian system. Now insofar as Mr. Usgaonkar is concerned, he was part of that transition period. Now if one asks me what is his contribution insofar as this transition is concerned? The greatest contribution of Mr. Usgaonkar during this transition period is to bring the Portuguese law, which was existing and which was basically in Portuguese language, in line with the English system. The first thing what he did was he brought about the translations of the Portuguese laws into English. I think that was the crucial thing which he did in his lifetime, and which had an impact on the entire legal system. The official translations of this Portuguese text was not available. Mr. Usgaonkar took efforts and translated this Portuguese text of law into English language. I must tell you that in several Supreme Court judgments, the translated laws by Mr. Usgaonkar have been treated by the Supreme Court as the official translation of Portuguese law. Imagine if Mr. Usgaonkar was not to do this, not to translate this, what would have happened to a common lawyer? What would have happened to the judges? This, in my view, is the greatest contribution and the legacy that Mr. Usgaonkar has left insofar as state of Goa is concerned. And the fraternity and the state at large can never forget this. This legacy is going to continue forever in this state of Goa is concerned. So, as a person, as a citizen, as an Advocate General of the state of Goa, we are forever grateful to Mr. Usgaonkar. This is the greatest contribution anybody has done insofar as state of Goa is concerned. We shall be forever grateful to Mr. Usgaonkar on this score. Mr. Usgaonkar was not only excellent in legal field, his contribution to the society is also great. He was actively involved in so many social activities. He was involved in several activities such as publication of books, giving of lectures. He organized so many lectures. He himself gave so many lectures on law. Those lectures, I think he has published it in his some papers. But those lectures are still a guide insofar as Portuguese law as is applicable in the state of Goa. Next thing which I want to point out from his career is his contribution to the legal fraternity. As was pointed out by the earlier speaker, Honorable Justice Sonak, so many juniors of his became judges in this territory. So many juniors of his became senior advocates, and many of them have joined the administrative service also. So that legacy, insofar as Mr. Usgaonkar is concerned, has contributed to the overall improvement of the legal system, the administrative system and other system. And one cannot forget the first law journal which was published in the state of Goa, that is Goa Law Times. It was all efforts and his own creation was this Goa Law Times. It was the first law journal that was published in the state of Goa thanks to Mr. Usgaonkar. And that is a contribution which is unparallelable. That is what I feel. The reason being, the judgments insofar as local laws in the state of Goa are concerned, it was difficult for them to be reported in the national journals. For example, laws on Munkar Act, laws on Tenancy Acts, laws on Portuguese Acts, and the judgments thereunder were hardly reported in the national journals. Mr. Usgaonkar realized that, and he made all these efforts, and with the help of Dempo Charities, he published that journal called as Goa Law Times, and we still refer to this journal. It is really useful to all the lawyers in courts to cite all those judgments from this book. So these are the few achievements, or I must say the efforts which Mr. Usgaonkar has put in and has contributed to the state of Goa. With the passing away of Mr. Usgaonkar, I think there is a great void that is created. That void is difficult to be filled in, but we can attempt to fill in that void by truly following the ideas and the purpose for which Mr. Usgaonkar practiced and lived his life. I pay my condolences to him, and I pray to God that his soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Now I request Advocate Gilman Coel Pereira, President of Bar Council, Bar Association of High Court. Coelho, please.
Honorable Chief Minister, Mr. Justice Mahesh Sonak, my colleagues and friends on the days, the chairman of the Goa Mines Bragans Association, distinguished members of the audience. This is an impromptu for me, and I was not prepared and not told that I was to speak. But as it was a matter of a condolence here for a man who is a stalwart in the state of Goa, I says I will come forward and not feel shy to tell a few words which I feel. Mr. Usgaonkar, as Justice Sonak says, we are here not to mourn his death. Death is the inevitable. We are here to celebrate his life. The life of Mr. Usgaonkar is a chapter in the history of Goa. Mr. Usgaonkar was trained, as the learned Advocate General has said, in the system of Portuguese law. He started his life with my uncle, Francisco Menezes, whom he joined after finishing his course in Lyceum. And there he got his sanat to start practice, and he started practice. I was a young junior when I joined the profession, but my admirations for him, I fell in love with his work and his way of going about. Mr. Usgaonkar is a great personality which we had. He's a great man basically. In his greatness dwelled in his virtues. He was honest, he was unassuming, he was humble, and he was a kind and very humble man. I would say that in Mr. Usgaonkar, we have an example of a great personality of the state of Goa. Mr. Usgaonkar was not a selfish person. He was a selfless man. He would share whatever knowledge he had. I as a junior, many a times approach him with difficulties because we were trained under the Indian legal system, and Mr. Usgaonkar was trained, knew the Portuguese law. So we were facing difficulties. We would go to him. He would leave everything, as Mr. Justice Sonak says, and attend to us. His doors were always open. Mr. Usgaonkar is a versatile personality. He was not only involved, as the learned Advocate General says, in his legal field. He was connected with social organization. He happened to be the governor of the Rotary Club of a district. I don't know what district it is, but the district of Goa. I'm not very conversant. Then he was also connected with many educational institutions where he would devote his time despite of his busy schedule. I would feel sorry for him because we would go to his office even at 12 o'clock and we would see him working tirelessly until his missus had to ring a bell and he had to go home for dinner. I think the family will bear testimony to it and certify me. But the point is this, that we should today follow Mr. Usgaonkar in his virtues. We should follow him in his way that he handled his practice and clientele. He was never bothered about his fees. But whoever came to him for a legal advice, he would render legal advice. And if you had no money in your pocket, as a client, he would selflessly defend that case. Therefore, we have lost a man, a colleague, and a citizen of this state who was instrumental in setting up the law in the state, where the Portuguese system of law. Mr. Usgaonkar, if I am not mistaken, was the chairman of that committee which advised on the setting up of the inheritance law in the state of Goa, and many more committees like that. So he was a mentor and a framer of law here, practically, and a guide to the legislators to set up legislation post-liberation of Goa. If I go on setting out his record of work and service for the state, I will not end. So I wish the family, all the legacy that the two sons, Sudin and Sudesh, may follow his legacy, and to every member in the fraternity, so that we follow him and remember him whilst we practice and our profession. Thank you.
Advocate Usgaonkar started his practice, as I believe, from MAPSA. His roots on legal side started from MAPSA. And therefore, I would like to call my friend and Advocate Paresh Rao, President of MAPSA Bar Association, to say a few words.
Honorable Chief Minister of Goa, Dr. Pramod Sawant, Justice Mahesh Sonak, Advocate General Devidas Pangam, Advocate Ramakant Khalap, Advocate Avdut Salatri, other dignitary on the stage and off the stage. All of us have gathered here out of our love and affection for Dr. Usgaonkar. Dr. Usgaonkar started his practice in MAPSA, and you choose any part of Goa, you would always find a junior who was associated with him, with his office in every part of Goa, and doing very well for himself. That was Dr. Usgaonkar. Some of the adjectives that effortlessly associate with Dr. are honesty, intellect, integrity, industry, and above all, he was a wonderful human being, a thorough gentleman, which is a very rarity in today's time. But Dr. was a thorough gentleman. For every advocate who was a junior, his office and his library was always open. We had a reference for him on the 30th in MAPSA, and one of the district judge, I'll share with you her remarks. One of the district judge said at the reference that when she was a junior 26 years back, her senior from Ponda sent her to Advocate Usgaonkar's office in Panjim for some reference, to do some reference and get citations. At that time, we did not have CDs or internet. When she went and met a junior of just 1 year old going and meeting Dr. Usgaonkar, immediately instructions were given to the office boy that there should be no fetters, and total access of the library should be given to this junior who became a judge later on. That was Dr. Usgaonkar. My father, Advocate Rao, was one of his first juniors, and it was a regular feature to stay up to 12 p.m. in the night in the office. That was the industry. And we would be waiting for my father to come home, and regularly it would be 11:30 or 12. That is the way they worked at that point of time. When I joined practice about 25 years back, I had gone to meet him. As there was a family relation between us, he said, "Ye mula, ye bus." That was the way he addressed. And whenever we had any difficulties, we could just get an appointment, walk into his office, and he would solve the problem. That was Dr. Usgaonkar. with gratitude and with affection on behalf of the entire fraternity of lawyers, I express my deepest condolences and wish, and I'm sure, I don't wish, I'm sure that if anyone would get moksha, it is Dr. Usgaonkar. I express my gratitude and express my condolences to Advocate Sudhin, Advocate Sudesh, and the family members. Thank you.
Dr. was a member of our Rotary Club of Mapsa, which is now 59 years old. And Dr. was the founder member of this club. He was actively involved in Rotary movements, Rotary programs, everything until last 2 years. After these 2 years, he was not, mobile, and therefore he could not come to the club. But this is the right time. I feel that our president of Rotary Club of Mapsa, Sachin Mense, will say a few words on.
I'm Rotarian Sachin Mense, President of Rotary Club of Mapsa. Advocate Manohar Usgaonkar, whom we affectionately address as Bhai, was a charter member of our club, which was established in the year 1965. He attained various offices in the club and participated in various activities and was always on forefront, whether it is taking part in projects, playing advisory role, as well as contributing for the cause voluntarily without any hesitation. Bhai was most respected member of our club, as well as in Rotary District 3170. And he was known all over as Bhai Usgaonkar because of his approach and his services in Rotary movement. He was actively involved in Rotary for more than 57 years and always attended the meetings, and we depended upon him for his valuable contribution in terms of donations as well as valuable advice as and when called for. Bhai never said no to anything and always was prompt enough to give whatever possible silently and without any publicity. The demise of our beloved Bhai is a big loss to our club and as a whole to the society at large, not only in Goa but all over. Bhai, we will miss you forever. May your soul attain Sadgati. Om Shanti. Thank you.
We don't want to keep the floor open because many will feel like saying something or the other. And our CM is also waiting for so much of time with his busy schedule. But we have got another 2-3 to say a few words. We have Professor Lele. When I came here, he said, I want to say something, please. I said, okay. So, Mr. Lele, please.
आदरणीय व्यासपीठ आणि उपस्थित सज्जन मातृशक्ती, आत्तापर्यंतच्या वक्त्यांनी माननीय मनोहरजींच्या संदर्भामध्ये त्यांच्या लीगल प्रॅक्टिस, वकील या नात्याने सांगितलं. पण माझा त्यांच्याशी संबंध आला तो काही सामाजिक कार्याच्या निमित्ताने. लॉंग अवे म्हणजे 1989 साली राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघाने पूजनीय डॉक्टर हेडगेवारांची जन्मशताब्दी साजरी करण्यासाठी अनेक कार्यक्रमांची योजना केली होती. आणि संघाच्या काही स्वयंसेवकांनी आपल्या समाजातला उच्च नीचतेचा दोष दूर करण्याच्या दृष्टीने किंवा त्या संदर्भात नेमका कोणता विचार असावा त्या संदर्भामध्ये एक सामाजिक समरसता मंच या नावाने एक काम सुरू केलेलं आहे, अजूनही चालू आहे. आणि त्या हेडगेवार जन्मशताब्दीच्या कालावधीमध्ये सामाजिक समरसता मंचातर्फे एक सामाजिक समरसता परिषद गोव्यामध्ये व्हावी असा प्रयत्न आमच्या सगळ्या कार्यकर्त्यांचा होता. आणि मग असे मोठे काही कार्यक्रम असले की मग त्याला काही चांगल्या समाजातल्या प्रतिष्ठित व्यक्तींचं चांगलं अधिष्ठान आशीर्वाद असावेत असा प्रयत्न असतोच आपला. तर त्यावेळेला चर्चेमध्ये नाव आलं की यावेळेला आपण माननीय मनोहरभाईंना विनंती करूया की त्यांनी या सामाजिक परिषदेचं अध्यक्षपद स्वीकारावं. आणि आम्ही काही कार्यकर्ते, आम्ही लहान होतो 30-35 वर्षापूर्वी, त्यामुळे 30-32 एवढंच वय आम्हा सगळ्यांचं. गोव्यातला राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघसुद्धा लहानच होता. आता जरा परिस्थिती बदलली आहे, खूप जण ओळखतात. पण तेव्हा आम्ही अनोळखी
माझी तर उसगावकरांशी ओळखही नव्हती, पण मी पणजीत राहत असल्यामुळे आणि पणजीत त्यांचं ऑफिस असल्यामुळे त्यांना भेटण्यासाठी मलाच जायची सूचना करण्यात आली आणि आम्ही गेलो भेटायला. आत्तापर्यंत वक्त्यांनी जसं सांगितलं की त्यांच्याकडे कोणी भेटायला गेलं की त्यांनी उत्स्फूर्ततेने स्वागत ते करत असत. किती लहान मोठा वगैरे हा विषय त्यांच्या संदर्भामध्ये कधीच नसायचा. आणि राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघाच्या संदर्भामध्ये म्हणून भेटायला मी पहिल्यांदाच गेलो होतो. हे मला त्यांची बॅकग्राऊंड, एक ते उत्कृष्ट वकील आहेत एवढंच माहिती होतं आणि समाजात त्यांचं एक फार उच्च स्थान आहे एवढंच माहिती होतं. आणि मी भेटायला गेलो आणि त्यांना सगळ्या कार्यक्रमांची काय कार्यक्रम असेल त्याची माहिती दिली. त्यांनी सगळं ऐकून घेतलं आणि पहिलं वाक्य ते माझ्याकडे असं म्हणाले की अरे मी या कार्यक्रमाला आलो की माझ्यावर शिक्का बसणार, मी तुमच्यासोबत असतो असं म्हणून, म्हणजे संघाबरोबर मी असतो अशा पद्धतीचा शिक्का बसणार. पण नंतर तेच स्वतः म्हणाले की इट्स हाय टाईम नाव, आता असा शिक्का बसला तरी चालेल, काही हरकत नाही. आता खूप जण शिक्का मारून घ्यायला येत असतात, पण त्या काळामध्ये असं शिक्का मारला तरी बसला तरी चालेल असं म्हणून त्यांनी ते ॲक्सेप्ट केलं. संघाच्या कार्यकर्त्यांची जी सवय असते त्याप्रमाणे त्या परिषदेला जवळजवळ हजारभर, त्या काळामध्ये 30-35 वर्षापूर्वी हजारभर लोकांच्या उपस्थितीत दिवसभर ती परिषद झाली. आणि मग त्यानंतर त्यांच्याकडे संघ म्हणून माझा जरा जास्ती संपर्क राहिला. त्यानंतरचे 2-4-5 वर्ष ही खूप धामधुमीची होती त्या काळामध्ये. म्हणजे काश्मीरमध्ये त्यावेळेला भरपूर उलथापालथ चालू होती. मग आम्ही या ठिकाणी काश्मीरचं 370 कलम हटवलं पाहिजे याच्यासाठी आम्ही इथे काही कार्यक्रम सुरू केले होते. राम मंदिराच्या संदर्भामध्ये आंदोलन सुरू होतं, त्या संदर्भामध्ये आमचे इथे काही कार्यक्रम चालू होते. त्या सगळ्या कार्यक्रमांना त्यांचं सहाय्य आणि त्यांचे आशीर्वाद असावेत म्हणून, सहाय्य म्हणजे अर्थसहाय्य, कारण आमच्याकडे निधी काहीच नसायचा आणि मग अशा काही प्रतिष्ठित लोकांकडे जाऊनच निधी गोळा करायचा. बरं, त्या निधीच्या संदर्भामध्ये काही संस्था या रजिस्टर्ड वगैरे असं असायच्या, नाही असं नाही, पण अगदी प्रत्येक काश्मीरच्या संदर्भामध्ये 370 कलम हटवायचं आहे, मोर्चा काढायचा आहे, मग त्याला कुठची संस्था असं काहीच नव्हतं. मग आम्ही जाऊन पैसे गोळा करायचो, त्याचा पावती बिवती असं काही नसायचं. परंतु एक राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघाच्या कार्यकर्त्यांवरचा विश्वास आणि मनोहरभाईंनी तो त्याच पद्धतीने दाखवला आणि त्या वेळेला अतिशय चांगल्या पद्धतीने अर्थसहाय्य केलं. सांगण्याचा किस्सा एक चांगला असा आहे की त्यावेळेचे संघाचे कार्यकर्ते सुद्धा जेव्हा काय लाखभर रुपये खर्च येणार असेल तर पैसे जास्ती जमा झाले तर उरलेले पैसे नेऊन द्यायचे परत. तसे मनोहरजींना आम्ही उरले कारण त्यांनी जास्ती निधी दिला होता, जरा पैसे जास्ती उरले होते, ते आम्ही ते परत द्यायला गेलो. त्यामुळे अरे परत कशाला करताय, ते दिलेत मी आम्ही तुम्हाला. मग ते आम्ही दुसऱ्या कुठच्या तरी सामाजिक कार्याला त्यांच्यातर्फे दान म्हणून देऊन टाकलं. म्हणजे अशा पद्धतीचं सहाय्य हे त्यांचं नंतर सतत होत राहिलं. काश्मीरच्या संदर्भामध्ये जेव्हा आम्ही मोर्चा काढला होता 370 कलमाचा, तेव्हा मला आठवते की ते त्यांच्या ऑफिसमधून त्या मोर्चाकडे ते बघत होते आणि नंतर आम्ही भेटायला गेलो तेव्हा त्यांनी सांगितलं हे व्हायला पाहिजे आणि यासाठी जे करायला पाहिजे, माझं ज्या पद्धतीचं सहाय्य मी करू शकतो तेवढं मी नक्की तुमच्या समेत करीन. असा काही सामाजिक कामाच्या संदर्भामध्ये त्यांचा या पद्धतीचा सहभाग हा आम्हाला आशीर्वादात्मक रीतीने खूप चांगल्या पद्धतीने मिळत होता. या नंतरच्या 10-12 वर्षाच्या आत्ताच्या काळात माझा त्यांच्याशी संपर्क राहिला नाही, परंतु जोपर्यंत ते ऑफिसमध्ये येत होते तोपर्यंत फार चांगल्या पद्धतीने वर्षातून 3-4 वेळेला आमच्या कार्याची माहिती देण्याकरता म्हणून त्यांचा संपर्क येत असे आणि ते अतिशय चांगल्या पद्धतीने स्वागत करत असत. रत्नाकर लेले म्हणून आणि राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघातर्फे मी त्यांच्या आत्म्याला सद्गती लाभावी आणि त्यांचा हा त्यांच्यामुळे होणारं नुकसान सहन करण्याची ताकद त्यांच्या कुटुंबियांना आणि आपल्या सर्व त्यांच्याविषयी आदर बाळगणाऱ्या सर्वांनाच प्राप्त व्हावी अशी ईश्वराकडे प्रार्थना करतो आणि 2 शब्द संपवतो.
One of our Rotary member insisted that he wants 1 minute and I cannot say no to him. So Idris, please come.
भाई की मोहब्बत की डोरी में बंधे आप तमाम हाजरीन को मेरा सलाम है और उन तमाम लोगों को भी जो इस एहसास से बंधे हुए हैं. आई एम रियली फॉर्चुनेट टू बी पार्ट ऑफ रोटरी क्लब ऑफ मापसा where Bhai was the charter member, and that is how I came to know for last 27 years. भाई को मैंने जो भी समझा है, जाना है, एक छोटी सी कोशिश ये की है कि उनकी शख्सियत की नुमाया खूबियों को चंद अल्फाज में आपके सामने पेश करूं। भाई सिर्फ भाई न थे, बहुत कुछ थे। दानाई व हिकमत, दैट इज विजडम, नज्म ज़ब्त, डिसिप्लिन, और बला की सादगी, दैट इज सिंप्लिसिटी एंड हम्बलनेस। दानाई व हिकमत, नज्म ज़ब्त और बला की सादगी बेशक बड़े अनोखे संगम की शख्सियत थे भाई। कम गो विथ मिनिमम वर्ड्स, गोया उनकी ज़ुबान थी, और ख़ामोशी में बहुत कुछ बोल जाते थे भाई। कम गो, गोया उनकी ज़ुबान थी और ख़ामोशी में बहुत कुछ बोल जाते थे भाई। हक़दारों के हुकूक़, हक़ इज़ एंटाइटल्ड एंड हुकूक़ राइट्स। ये रहा अहम मकसद उनका। मकसद इज़ पर्पस एंड द गोल। हक़दारों के हुकूक़, ये रहा अहम मकसद, इसकी रही सदा जुस्तजू, कोशिश, क्वेस्ट, इसकी रही सदा जुस्तजू। वो गहरी लगन, गोया लगन न हो, इबादत बन गई थी भाई की। हक़दारों के हुकूक़, ये रहा अहम मकसद, इसकी रही सदा जुस्तजू। वो गहरी लगन, गोया लगन न हो, इबादत बन गई थी भाई की। भाई सिर्फ भाई न थे, बहुत कुछ थे। थैंक यू।
Now I request Chairman of Ministers Praganza Hall, Mr. Dasharat Parak, to kindly say a few words.
व्यासपीठावर उपस्थित गोवा राज्याचे मुख्यमंत्री डॉक्टर प्रमोद सावंत, ॲडव्होकेट जनरल महेश सोनक, जस्टिस सोनक, आपल्या गोवा राज्याचे श्री ॲडव्होकेट पांगम आणि भाई खलप आणि ॲडव्होकेट सलत्री. माझ्यासमोर अनेक मान्यवर बसलेले आहेत आणि त्यांच्यासमोर फक्त मी आमचे या आज आपण ज्यांच्यासाठी श्रद्धांजली वाहण्यासाठी इथं जमलो आहोत ते आपले ॲडव्होकेट मनोहर उसगावकर. आता मनोहर उसगावकर यांच्याबद्दल आपण अनेकांकडून त्यांच्याबद्दल माहिती, त्यांचे विचार ऐकलेत आणि मलाही मनोहर उसगावकरांच्याबद्दल मी लहान असतानापासून उसगावकरांच्याबद्दल मी ऐकलं होतं. आमचं गाव कोठंबी, पाळी आणि उसगाव हे अगदी जवळजवळचे असे गाव. आमचा गाव अगदी छोटा, परंतु उसगावकरांशी आमचे फार जुने नाते आहे त्या गावाचं. कारण तिथे एक डॉक्टर उसगावकर म्हणून होते आणि दुसरे ॲडव्होकेट मनोहर उसगावकर. डॉक्टर उसगावकर जे होते ते तिथं वैद्यकीय व्यवसाय करायचे आणि आजूबाजूचे सगळे लोक त्यांच्याकडे जायचे त्या काळी. आणि नंतरच्या काळात ॲडव्होकेट मनोहर उसगावकर हे एक प्रख्यात वकील आहेत असं त्या भागात जेव्हा वातावरण किंवा लोकांना समजत होतं त्यावेळेला अनेक लोक त्यांच्याकडे सल्ला घेण्यासाठी जायचे. पण नंतरच्या काळात ते म्हापशाला स्थायिक झाले आणि त्यावेळेला सुर्ल म्हणून आमच्या जवळचा गाव, कोठंबी, पाळी आणि त्या भागातले सगळे लोक त्यांचा आधार म्हणजे कायद्याचा सल्ला कोण देणार तर भाई उसगावकर किंवा मनोहर उसगावकर हे एक मोठं आशास्थान त्यावेळी आमच्या लोकांच्यामध्ये होतं. आता मनोहरभाई ही व्यक्ती मी त्यांना पाहिलं कधी तर साधारण मला वाटतं 78च्या काळातच मी त्यांना पहिल्यांदा पाहिलं, उसगावलाच बघितलं होतं. त्याच्यानंतर एकदा म्हापसा अर्बनचं इलेक्शन होतं, त्या काळात मी त्यांना भेटलो होतो आणि नंतर काही वेळा पाहिलं त्यांना, पण तसं जवळून बोलता आलेलं नाही. आणि ते नावाप्रमाणे मनोहर अशी व्यक्ती होती. ते गोष्टी वेल्हाळ होते. कुणाशी बोलले तर अनेक त्यांना काय काय आपलं सांगणं किंवा त्यांचं ऐकणं असं ते गोष्टी वेल्हाळ होते. आणि नम्र विनोदही त्यांना आवडायचा. त्यामुळे त्यांचं नातं हे सामान्य माणसाकडे जेव्हा जेव्हा ते उसगावला येतात ते दरवर्षी त्यांचं कुटुंब, त्यांची मुलंसुद्धा आता आहे तिथं, ते चतुर्थीला आणि तिथं वार्षिक कालोत्सव होतो, आदिनाथांचा उत्सव तिथं होतो. ते वेळी ते येतात. आणि ज्यावेळी त्यांचं हे निधन झालं, एक मला कळलं त्या दिवशी मी उसगावलात होतो. माझी मुलगी त्यांच्या घरा शेजारीच आहे आणि मी विचारलं तिथं की अरे बाबा मनोहर बाबांचं घर कुठं, तर त्यांनी मला दाखवलं हे घर म्हणून. मी तेव्हा ते घरही बघितलं, पूर्वीही बघितलं होतं, पण ते मनोहर बाबांचं घर, मनोहर उसगावकरांचं घर हे मला माहीत नव्हतं. मी तेव्हा ते बघितलं. तर ही आताची गोष्ट, परंतु मनोहर उसगावकर यांच्याबद्दल आमच्या भागात एक फार मोठा त्यांना मान आहे आणि त्यांच्या कुटुंबियांनाही तिथं मोठा मान आहे. उसगाव पाळी हा भाग सगळा हा त्यांना मानतात. आणि सुरला गावचे जे मला वाटतं त्यांच्या मुलांना माहीत असेल, घाडी म्हणून एक मोठी फॅमिली आहे. त्यांचं सगळं व्यवहार हे म्हणजे कायद्याचे सल्ले वगैरे सगळे तिथूनच ते घेत असतात होते. तर अशा प्रकारचे मनोहरबाब उसगावकर यांच्या अलीकडेच त्यांचं हे निधन झाल्यामुळे या दिवशी मी माझ्या वतीने आणि माझ्या कुटुंबियांच्या वतीने त्यांना श्रद्धांजली इथं अर्पण करतो आणि मी इथं थांबतो. धन्यवाद.
आता निमाणे सुवातेर आमी आमचे मुखेल मंत्री, म्हाका खबर आसा तांकां हांवें खूब वेळ बसोवन दवरले, पूण हांवें विचार केलो की बाकीच्यांक सगळ्यांक पयलीं उलोवने आनी मागीर तांचे शब्द आयकुया म्हणून.
माजी ॲडव्होकेट जनरल आणि ॲडिशनल सॉलिसिटर जनरल एक्स श्री MS उसगांवकर हांकां श्रद्धांजली दिवपा खातीर आमी सगळे जाण हांगासर जमल्यात. ह्या म्हज्या पयलीं उलोवप्या मदें खास करून जस्टीस महेश सोनक, ॲडव्होकेट जनरल देविदास पांगम, एक्स कायदा मंत्री रमाकांतबाई खलप, मिनिजीस ब्रागांजाचे चेअरमॅन श्री दशरथ परब, त्याचबरोबर मिस्टर सलत्री, उपस्थितांमध्ये माजी मुख्यमंत्री श्री दिगंबर कामत, बाबा धेंपो आणि खास करून ॲडव्होकेट फेडरलिटीतले सगळे ॲडव्होकेट भाव आणि भयणीनो, त्याचबरोबर उसगांवकर यांचे कुटुंबीय, तांचे चाहते. गोंय सरकारच्या वतीन, गोंयच्या लोकांच्या वतीन हांव MS उसगांवकर हांकां श्रद्धांजली दिता. तांच्या बद्दल सगळ्या जाणांनी वेगवेगळे पैलू, विशेष करून कायदा क्षेत्रांतले, त्यांचे सोशल क्षेत्रांतले, तांचे सामाजीक क्षेत्रांतले वेगवेगळे विशय तुमच्या सगळ्यांच्या मुखार मांडले. निश्चितच रित्या हे सांगता आसतना आमकां सगळ्यांक खबरूय आसा आनी पोर्तुगीज कायदे तेंच्यांनी इंग्लीश ट्रान्सलेट करपाक सगळ्यात पयलीं आनी सगळ्यात व्हडलो रोल हो तेंचो आशिल्लो. पुराय गोंयांत आमी म्हणजे जेन्ना लँड रेव्हेन्यू कोड्स हाचो विचार करता, म्हणजे सामान्य मनशांच्या मदीं एक जे तेंच्या बद्दलचें मत आशिल्लें की दोतोर उसगांवकारान सांगलां न्ही म्हणटणी फायनल आनी तेजेर वयलें कांय आनी आसचें ना, तेंचो एडवायस घेतलो जाल्यार तितकें फायनल. आमी जशें म्हणटा
एखाद्या फायनल दोतोरान डायग्नोसीस केलें काय तो डायग्नोसीस फायनल डायग्नोसीस आसता. ऑन द सामान्य मनशाच्या मदीं हीच भावना पुराय कायद्याच्या बाबतीत जेन्ना विशेष करून जेन्ना उसगांवकर दोतोरान सांगलां म्हटल्या उपरांत तें फायनल आसतलें अशा पद्दतीची एक भावना पुराय सगळ्या सामान्य लोकांच्या मदीं आसताली. म्हाका एक 2दा तांकां मेळपाचो योग आयलो. आत्तां श्री दशरथ प्रभ हेंच्यांनी सांगला त्या प्रमाणे त्यांनी स्पेसिफिकली म्हाका तूं कोठंबीचो मरे काय म्हणून हे त्यांनी थंयसले 1-2-3 केसीस बीन रिफर करून हांव आमदार जाल्या उपरांत एक वैयक्तीक कारणा खातीरय तांकां मेळपाचो योग आयलो. इज गिवन द एडवायस. पूण म्हाका खूब बरें दिसता की एक आमी जरी श्रद्धांजली दिवपाक तांकां हांगासर जमल्या बट तेंचें जिवन हें म्हाका दिसता एडवोकेट लॉ फॅटर्निटीत कायम याद सगळ्यांच्या मदीं उरतलें. आनी निश्चित रित्या तांच्यांनी जें काम लॉ फॅटर्निटीत केलां, तांच्यांनी जें ट्रान्सलेशन विशेष करून पोर्तुगीज कायद्याचें केलां, फक्त गोंयानच न्ही तेजें पोर्तुगीज ट्रान्सलेशन जें केलां म्हाका दिसता इट वील युजफूल इन अदर कोर्ट्स ऑल्सो. सातत्य ते सगळी कडेन हाज्या फुडेंय बी अशाच पद्दतीन वापरले वयतले. तांचे उलोवप्या पैकी सांगलें की तेंचे ज्युनियर्स ऑल ओवर द गोवा सगळी कडेन प्रॅक्टीस करता, सगळे लॉ फॅटर्निटीत वेगवेगळ्या वयल्या क्षेत्रांत पावले. इन फ्युचर ऑल्सो म्हणजे ते अशाच पद्दतींची याद ही सदोदीत उरतले. आमी पळयता की वेगवेगळे कायदे जेन्ना काडले वता तेन्ना विशेष करून कायदे तज्ञांचो उल्लेख केलो वता. त्याच प्रमाणे आतां रिसेंटली जो UCC युनिफॉर्म सिवील कोड जो पोर्तुगीजांतल्यान ट्रान्सलेट इंग्लीश आनी आतां म्हणजे गोंयच्या बाबतींत जेन्ना नांव घेतलें वता त्या खातीर म्हाका दिसता UCC सुद्दां पोर्तुगीज इज ट्रान्सलेटेड टू द इंग्लीश 1860 and then 1910 समथींग. आत्ताच्या घडीक जो रिसेंटली सगळी कडेन UCCच्या बाबतींत उलयलें वता त्या खातीर गोंयच्या कायद्यांच्या बाबतींत ऑलवेज म्हणजे कोमुनिदाद कायदो आसूनी किंवा लँड रेव्हेन्यू कोर्ट्स आसूनी UCC आसूनी सातत्यात गोंयच्या कायद्याच्या बाबतींत उलयलें वता. हांव परत एकदां तांकां श्रद्धांजली दिता. तांच्या घरच्यांच्या दुख्खात आमी सहभागी आसा. ते जे दिसा एक्सपायर्ड जाले त्या दिसा हांव गोंयांत नाशिल्लो, म्हाका कळ्ळें ना जाल्यार हांव ते दिसांय थंय पावपाचो. बट परत एकदां हांव तेंच्या दुख्खात सहभागी आसा आनी समेस्त गोंयकारांच्या वतीन परत एकदां तांचे आयज श्रद्धांजली दिता. आनी सदोदीत कायद्या क्षेत्रांत केल्लें तेंचें काम हे गोंयांत अशेंच यादिस्त लॉ फॅटर्निटीत उरचें. देव बरें करूं.
देव बरें करूं. डॉक्टर प्रमोद सावंत, 1-2 मिनटांनी आमी आतां हो कार्यक्रम सोंपयता. पयलें म्हणजे एक औपचारीक दृश्ट्या आभार. ताजे नंतर तुमी सगळ्यांनी उबे रावप, 1 मिनीट स्तब्धता. मागीर आमी हांगा फुलां हाडून दवरलेल्या फुलांच्यो पाकळ्यो तुमकां जाय तरी तांकां ऑफर करचे.